It is that time of year where we talk about our 2025 goals, our goals for the year. So I'm usually not excited to make this video, then really excited to make this video, and then put off making this video, and then I'm really happy when I make this video. But this year's been a little different. I did make goals. I did write down a bunch of goals. They're basically the same goals that I've always had on this channel for both my reading and for my channel goals, but then I threw it all out the window and I decided I didn't want to do that. So today we're not really making goals, we're kind of making anti-goals, but it is going to set you up a little bit for what to expect from me in the year 2025 on this channel and with my reading. So let's do anti-goals. Let's not even do 10 of them. Let's do 9 of them. How anti is that? The first one is a normal goal. It's my numbers goal, but it's kind of an anti-goal because every year that I've been on BookTube and every year that I've had Storygraph, which are the same amount of years, I have upped my goal a little bit or kept it the same if I felt like it was a good place to be. I think the first 2 years were 75 books, and then ever since then I've upped it by a little bit. Last year I did 100 books in 2024, and so far in 2024, I have a couple of days left, but so far in 2024 I've read 184 books. So I never want to make this reading goal something that is unachievable because I want to achieve it easily so it's not worrying me, which this year I definitely did. Making my goal 100 was achievable for me, and I was ahead the whole time, so it feels good to see yourself ahead. And to me it's more like, where am I at what point in the year? At what point in the year do I read my 50th book? At what point in the year do I read my 75th book? Like, I like seeing the tracker, but I don't want it to feel negative in any possible way. So in 2024 I did make a mistake, and it did feel a little negative only because I picked 100. So as the tracker went up, my percentage went up by the exact same amount, and it felt very, I don't know, like restrictive in a weird way, or like not fun. So this year I'm going to pick a number goal that is above 100, but I think is going to be like a random, like 107 or like 114 or something like that, so that the percentage tracker doesn't go with the exact amount of books. Because in 2024, if I read 1 book, I was at 1%. If I read 5 books, I was at 5%. If I read 75 books, I was at 75%. So I just want those two numbers to be different, but I do want to up the number of books overall. But the other part of this goal is an anti-goal, which is last year and the year before, I had a goal to like read less. And this year I just realized that why restrict yourself in any way? I'm just going to read whatever I want. And you're going to see this kind of pop up again and again. Like, reading less felt worse in some ways, or trying to read less felt worse in some ways than just reading and not thinking about it, or just reading as much as I want, or even trying to read more. So no goal for that. My goal is to just read whatever I want, whenever I want to. The next goal goes along with that and is along the same lines, which is every year since I've been on BookTube, I've made goals to read a certain amount of author identities. So trying to read more BIPOC work, trying to read more works by people of color, trying to read more works by queer people, trying to read less books by white men from America and England, right? And that is still my goal, but it's not a goal anymore because it's something that I already do. And instead of forcing myself into a like box or a restrictive pattern of saying like I want to read at least 50% BIPOC authors, would I still like to read 50% BIPOC authors? Yes, 100% I would. But I'm not going to give that as a goal, give that as an aim, because one of the things that I realized in 2024 was that I was reading and trying to read that 50% BIPOC authors, and it meant that the books by white people were just piling up, because I do acquire a lot of books, and there are plenty of books by white people that I want to read, and those books were just piling it up, so I felt bad that I wasn't reaching for them, because that pile was getting bigger, and my pile of works by people of color was getting smaller. I'm glad that that pile was getting smaller, and that I was able to replenish that, but I was naturally picking up those books already, and then on top of that, I was also forcing myself not to read white authors. So what I would like to do in 2024 is kind of throw those statistics out the window and just read whatever I want. Do you see a theme here? Read whatever I want from whatever authors I want, not feel bad about anything, and not really track how many books from what kind of person I'm reading. The same goes with like queer work. I read quite a bit of queer work. I love to read queer work. I love to read work by people of color. I tend to like those books more a lot of times than I do just white American or British authors in some respects. So like I'm happy with where my reading is at in a lot of ways. I want to like just read the books that I want to read and not put any restrictions on myself. One of the things that I normally do during the year is when I do my yearly tags, so my New Year's tag, my quarter year tag, my mid-year tag, my end of year tag, I will do, and then my postscript tag at the very end of the year, I will talk about those stats and see where I'm at. And I just have decided I'm not going to do that this year. I might still talk about some stats in those videos, but I'm not going to say, oh, well, I only had 46% BIPOC authors, or, oh, well, I only had, 30% queer authors. I'm just not going to think about it. The only kind of caveat to that particular thing, and particularly to queer authors, is I do want to read more works by non-binary people and by trans people this year, because I had a lot of great reads from non-binary and trans people, and it is a perspective that you have to seek out and a category of author that you have to seek out, or else you're never going to run into them. Like if you just picked up any random book, it would take you forever to pick up a book by a trans person. So I'm definitely going to actively seek out more books by trans and non-binary people, and specifically those authors. And then kind of another caveat to that is I do still want to track my works in translation. So last year I had a goal to read 25% works in translation, and I don't think I've met that. You'll find out in my postscript tag for 2024. But one of the things that I really want to do, and some of the voices that I really want to hear, are non-American voices, non-British voices, or non-English speaking voices. So I want to read more works by people who speak a different language, who have different cultures, and so I am still going to try to hit that goal of at least 25% translated books. But I'm not going to be like too precious about it or too restrictive about it. I'm just going to try and hit those goals. Some more things that I'm not going to do, some more anti-goals. I'm not going to do a 25 and 25. It's one of those things that like, we're going to do this forever. It's going to be 30 books in 2030. I think eventually, maybe next year I'll do 13 books in 2026, or I don't know, 6 books in 2026, or 20 books in 2026. I don't know. But right now, I haven't been inspired to do that this year. I did write down a list, of course, and in that list I had some books that were on my pre-2022 recently acquired book spreadsheet, so my pre-2022 TBR list, some that were in my 2024 list, it was all these things, and it's like so much to keep track of, and again, I just want to read what I want to read, and I don't want to try to fit it into a list. I'm probably not going to do a summer TBR, I'm probably not going to do a winter TBR, I'm probably not going to do an end of year TBR in 2025. I'm just going to read whatever the heck I want to read. But that being said, I do want to finish some of the projects that I've already started on BookTube. So a big push for my reading, sort of, is going to be to finish my lists. 21 books I found out about 2021 and I want to read in 2022. 22 books I found out about in 2022 and I wanted to read in 2023. 23 books I found out about in 2023 and I wanted to read in 2024. And I did make a 24 and 24 list, so all 4 of those lists I would really like to finish. And I would really like to work on completing. I don't know if they'll all get done in 2025, but at least I can make a big effort for them, especially because I have a lot of the books on those lists, so I should just read them, right? There are also a lot of other BookTube projects channel projects that I want to work on this year besides those lists. I definitely want to work on my booker list. I want to work on the reading a book from every year I've been alive list. I want to work on, what were some of the other ones? I started so many projects. I actually made a list of all the projects that I started in the last few years, and I just want to complete them. It felt really good to complete my 2022 book haul revisit project in like 1 year. Oh, my basement box books is another one that I want to finish. So I want to try and wrap up a lot of projects in 2025 or give them more of a direction. Like my booker project is just to read booker books and see what a booker book is. I mean, that's great. I do still want to do that, but I think it needs a little bit more direction. I think it needs a little bit more structure to be an interesting video for you and also an interesting project for me. Another thing that I'm not going to do on the channel this year is weekly vlogs. So in October, November of 2023, I had considered doing weekly vlogs for the entire year. And then I tried it during Bookmas and I failed at it. So I'm not going to be doing that. I am going to be still doing vlogs about my life and letting you in on things. But I think a more effective series for me and a more interesting series for you is the In My 40s diary. I'm going to be turning 46 in 2025. And I think that I do live a different lifestyle than a lot of 46-year-olds. So I would love to share that with you. So I am going to be still doing lifestyle vlogs that also have to do with reading, of course, because reading is such a big part of my lifestyle, but I'm not going to be doing weekly vlogs on a regular basis. Going right along with that booktube idea and the idea of lifestyle and the idea of what I want to share with you on my booktube, I definitely want to get back to sharing low waste, low consumption videos. So that's something that my channel started with and then I've moved away from. Not the lifestyle of low waste or low consumption, but filming those videos and putting them out here. So I think it's time to renew that kind of pledge that I've made with myself and that lifestyle that I've created for myself in my personal life, because although I still do a lot of zero waste, low consumption things, I also have slipped, especially during the pandemic, back into consuming more and generating more waste. So that's something that I want to renew within myself and then also renew on the channel, because I think those videos, even though this is primarily a booktube, really balanced out the content on my channel and made it a more interesting place to be just for myself and for everyone else. So another kind of anti-goal is to be less booktube and more low waste, zero waste content. Low spend, like I see so many people are doing a low spend year and I always do a low spend year. So I think it would be interesting to talk about things like that. I've still always wanted to talk about sustainability in booktube, sustainability in the workplace, sustainability at home. So I definitely plan on doing more of all of that in 2025 on the channel. Another anti-goal that I have for the channel is to post 3 videos a week. So for a long time, I was posting 3 videos a week pretty much every week for a long time. I did a really good job on it. And then 2024 destroyed my schedule and it became really hard to post videos. There were some videos that I didn't post anything. There were some weeks that I didn't post anything. There were some weeks that I posted 4 videos. My real goal in 2024 was to post at least 4 videos a week, because I have so many ideas and I have so many videos that I want to put out and I have so much practice that I want to do by putting out videos that I really wanted to move to 4. Well, I couldn't do that. So an anti-goal is to just go back to posting 3 videos a week and try to really stay on schedule with those 3 videos a week. Now, I think I probably will occasionally post more than that because I don't want to miss out on content, but I need to strike a balance between all the content that I want to make and the content that I can actually make. So we'll try to strike a balance in 2025. And then lastly, a goal and an anti-goal is, yes, I want to acquire less books. So this is a goal that I've had for several years. I'm currently doing a Read What You Own challenge and trying to read 25 books before I bring new books into the house. And we all know I have a lot of books everywhere in my house and I have a TBR that exceeds 600 books. So do I need new books? No, I don't need new books. But going along with the goals and going along with the idea of doing whatever I want and reading whatever I want, I am going to continue to acquire books in 2025. I'm not going to go on a book buying ban. And after this 25 book Read What You Own challenge, I probably won't continue to do a Read What You Own challenge, but some ways to help me move books out and off of my TBR is to read books that I already own on audio, is to bring in less books generally, is to read whatever I want, because that is a big barrier. If I'm always trying to read a certain type of book, then sometimes I'm like, well, I don't have enough translated work to pick from, so I need to get even more translated work. I have enough translated work to pick from. I have enough books to pick from, but in the anti-goal side of that, I'm not going to as indiscriminately pick up books. I'm definitely going to try to still curb my book acquiring to a certain extent. One project that I'm thinking about starting in 2025, which I think would be a really fun project to do, and I think it would be interesting for you, but let me know in the comments below, is to take you along to every book sale that I go to this year, because I do go to a book sale once every month or every other month, depending on what's going on in my area. Like usually January is the time where I don't go to book sales, but this year there's a wall book sale in January, so I'm definitely going to go to that. So I thought maybe to be more like conscious of the books that I'm getting, and also to be more aware of the situation of book sales, used book sales, I would take you along with me. So let me know if that would be something that you would like to see. I definitely still plan to go to book sales. I definitely still plan to pick up books in Little Free Libraries, but I want to acquire less books overall, so I am going to be more discriminate, I think, about the books that I pick up in those places. And I'm going to try and read a lot of books and get them off my TBR, which is super fun. So those are my 9-ish goals or anti-goals for 2025. Let me know if you're making goals in 2025. Let me know if any of these goals resonated with you or these anti-goals resonated with you. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!